So, hello and welcome to the Picturepark webinar together with our technology partner Smint.io. We typically wait just a couple of seconds for people to arrive in the webinar. So probably within the next 2-3 minutes, there will be people popping into the webinar. So I might sort of repeat myself with a few instructions for this webinar. As you probably know, my name is Philip. I'm Director of Business Development at Picturepark, and I'm already the organization for more than 12 years. I invited you to this webinar because I think it's very, very useful information that you're going to see today here. The webinar will be about our technology partner integration together with Smint.io. For this reason, we also have Mr. 𝐏𝐢𝐜𝐭𝐮𝐫𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐞 and the meeting. We're already working together for many years. We have numerous customers together as clients, and essentially Smint.io is offering you a portal capability that you can put on top of the Picturepark application and then brand this to more your requirements. 𝐏𝐢𝐜 will speak about this more in detail. Just a few fundamentals about the webinar. The webinar will be in English language, so we're going to record the session as well, and you will receive the recording link in approximately 1 or 2 days from now. So once the recording is complete, you should receive the recording link. So it's about the recording. So you're safe in regards to that. And overall, yeah, we're just waiting for 2-3 people to join. I see they're popping in at this point in time. The whole webinar shouldn't take more than 35 minutes, so we'll try to keep it as short and compact as possible. So it's really, really just in a nutshell. If you have any further questions, or if you would like to see more details or more action, please don't hesitate to contact me personally or my colleague 𝐏𝐢𝐜. After the webinar, we'll be happy to address any of your answers. Last thing before I hand over to 𝐏𝐢𝐜, there is a questions panel in GoToWebinars. So you will see a little panel on your screen that states questions. So please feel free to put your questions into that window anytime. We cannot hear you, so the webinar is in a silent mode. We can only you can only listen to us, unfortunately. But if you have any questions, please post them into that panel. We'll make sure that at the end of the presentation cover those questions, and you can will be fully transparent. If we don't have the time to answer them in person, we will then come back to you via email. So you're safe in that as well. And yeah, many thanks for joining the webinar today. I will now hand over to my colleague 𝐏𝐢𝐜, who will guide you through the of Smint.io. I'm really fascinated with what he's going to show us, and you will hear me then once we come back to the questions. 𝐏𝐢𝐜, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Philip. Hello and welcome also from my side. My name is 𝐏𝐢𝐜𝐿. I'm CCO and co-founder of Smint.io. Just one addition to what Philip said about the webinar itself. It's 30 to 35 minutes about in terms of the theory and also the example presentation. And then we'll have some 10 minutes about to answer your questions. So what are we doing at Smint.io? At Smint.io, we focus on activating your content with our solution. Our platform, Smint.io Portals, is designed to enable our customers to activate their content from where it sits, in this case, in your digital asset management system or cloud storage. So in Picturepark content platform, or additionally, also in SharePoint. So this is what we're looking at today. The agenda in this webinar today, we will deal with a few basic questions like why content activation is becoming increasingly important, and how specifically brand portals, media portals, press centers can help you to do that, and how it fits into your architecture with not creating an additional content silo, but really leveraging your existing Picturepark investment. The first 15 minutes will deal with the theoretical questions, the challenge, and we'll produce an image of the digital warehouse and the digital shopping experience, and our concept of content activation. And then we'll take a look at some concrete examples directly on the Smint.io Portals platform. And at the end, of course, as Philip already said, we'll have time for your questions and answers. But first, let's ask ourselves what the challenges are we face as a company, as marketers, and as content managers or as system managers. Our own experience as consumers that we experience every day teaches us a lot about what we need to know about it. As consumers, we follow brands, brands that present themselves professionally, that present values, and what do we expect? Of course, we expect a great brand experience and a consistent brand language and information that can easily be available or easily be accessed and consumable at the push of a button. In our role as marketers, of course, this very expectation creates a lot of pressure. So let's take a deeper look how we go about this. To meet these expectations, of course, we create a lot of content. We invest a lot of time and money in that content, in images, videos, presentations, and other documents. And of course, we invest in the systems that manage that content. And as a company, we invest in, like, for example, a digital asset management system, in this case, Picturepark content platform, or in a SharePoint platform, SharePoint sites and libraries. But a lot of this content is very often not used. We publish that content to different channels, such as website and social media, and those channels are very often directly linked to the content in our DAM. But much of this content remains dormant because and inactive because we cannot reach all target groups effectively with that content. So let's take a look at the reasons for that and why we think that is the case. The DAM and our publishing systems are kind of a factory, a warehouse for digital assets. So let's go for that metaphor for a minute. So this is where they are created, and this is where they are kept in various formats, and this is where they are being managed and also enriched with metadata. So this is the picture I want to convey to you, the picture of a digital warehouse. Now, in real life, in the physical world, we would never send our customers or partners to a warehouse to search for the products there. Products which cannot be found, which are not seen, those products or products that are not presented in any good way will not be bought or used. And it's the same with our digital content, of course. Without willful and dedicated content activation and presentation, the content remains unseen. It's not used, it's inactive in our digital warehouse. So in order for the content to work, find and use, and in order to become active, we need to establish the picture, the image of digital content, a digital content shopping experience, and that should be comparable to the physical world. So what is the concept we are conveying is the concept of the smart content store. Now, especially professional user groups like our partners, media or agencies, but also internal teams require our special attention. So such content stores that we need to create usually serve specific application scenarios, such as example, a brand portal or dealer portal or media center and the likes. So this is the kind of portals we are talking about today. These are experiences that go beyond just your normal website and your normal social media channel. And in a couple of minutes, we'll take a closer look at examples of that, especially the brand portal, the media center, and the press portal. Before we do that, let's take a look at the concept that is behind it. So, like in the physical world, we need to create some digital experiences, and well, the targeted activation is a really complex discipline that has an astonishing number of facets. The required functionality, experience, design depends on really what you want to achieve and who are your target groups. So that your content is active, you need to really consider a few different principles. And to visualize those different disciplines, we have created pillars. We have created the picture of the image of the house of content activation, so-called content activation. And of course, like with the website as well, the foundation is experience. Experience is about presenting, of course, the content efficiently and effectively, and to do that is actually a difficult task, put really simply. I mean, every marketer will know that when I say it's not as simple as it sounds. Now, the first pillar is fusion. The first pillar of that building, let's call it, is fusion. And the fusion is about bringing together content from different sources. So, for example, in your case, a Picturepark DAM content platform, and maybe SharePoint or Box or Google Drive, where you have other types of content than in your DAM. But it could be different sources in a bigger number. The second pillar is interaction. You need to be providing means for your users to interact with the content, but also among each other. You need to have a good way of searching, finding, downloading, creating collections, rating, commenting, for example, around the content in order to really serve the needs of that community. Now, of course, the roof is insights. Insights, by that we mean the performance measurement for our content, but also how users interact with it, because only what we can control, we can only control what we can measure, so to say, and therefore we need to know how our content performs for us to be able to decide on investments around content and the whole content strategy. Now, I will only touch on the middle three pillars today: context, availability, and subscription very, very shortly. We will cover these pillars in more detail in one of the next webinars. But these three pillars complete the house of content activation and are also quite important pillars. But I'm not touching on them in more depth today. So this concludes the theoretical part, the basis, so to say, of our product vision. And we now turn to the promised examples of such content portals. The simplest example is a media center or download center. In our case, what I will be showing you, a download center for a fictitious machine manufacturer, a B2B company with our demo brand 𝐏𝐢𝐜𝐿. And then we'll take a look at a brand portal for a fictitious sunglasses manufacturer with not only brand assets, but also brand guidelines behind it. And that's represented by our demo brand 𝐏𝐢𝐜𝐿, which is representing a brand from the consumer world. And finally, we'll take a look at a breast portal of a fictitious sports club, the Harburg Giants, just for you to have an overview of different industries and different use cases. But actually, we are not limited to that. You could have a portal for e-learning. You could have a portal for your channel partners. Really, any portal experience that is around your content that you have in your Picturepark DAM. And after we look at those examples, we will take a look under the hood of the backend of Smint.io portals and see how those experiences are being created and managed really in a no-code fashion for marketing or business departments without the need of programming. By the way, you can look at all of the 3 examples on our website and can access them there and explore them by yourself. That is www.smint.io.com. So let's move on to the first example. I'll just end my slideshow here and show you the first example, which is 𝐏𝐢𝐜𝐿, our fictitious machine brand. And what we see here is, first of all, it's a branded experience. So 𝐏𝐢𝐜𝐿, that is our brand. We have some functionality here, like request access. So you can see the login functionality here, or the authorization and permission management. And of course, some multilingual experience here. In this case, I have it in English and in German, but you can do it in any language. So what is the purpose of this download center? The purpose of this download center is to present to a specific target group, that could be customers or partners of 𝐏𝐢𝐜𝐿, with the assets that are in Picturepark content platform, and allow them to interact with them and download those assets in a branded and very professional fashion. So you can contextualize it here. Just being a download center, you don't need a lot of additional information, but you might want to inform people about what it is about. So you can see that we need some components that allow us to contextualize. Here we have a menu structure, and this menu structure is meant to just link to searches that already present with the correct result. So here we have all the images, and we have different product lines that we have images for. Here we have all the videos, here all the documents, here we have all the assets pertaining to a special product line in this case. And here we have a little call to action: book an online meeting. That could be anything. In this case, it's a demo portal. So I'm showing you one of those searches here. It opens up a search already predefined, pre-selected search facets, and here this is already showing you that we can get the search facets and the metadata directly from Picturepark, and present you with the result that is live against your Picturepark CPU. But of course, in a very much simpler and more branded fashion, because in this case we are not addressing internal users, but we are addressing our dealership, for example. So you can see here that these assets are presented with a preview in a Mason review, but if I click on it, I can open it directly, can see all the metadata here, and can interact with it, can download, can share, can remember it in a collection. But we will look at the collections more deeply when we take a look at the brand portal. So these are the basic components of a download center. Could be much more ample. It could be even simpler than that, really depending on what your needs are in that respect. showing you an example that is a little bit broader because it's a brand portal use case, and the brand portal use case also involves, beside the assets that we want to convey to the users, we also want to convey the guidelines for our brand and how to use it. And here, while the principle is very similar, we have different components here, and here we have some category viewers with text and image, and here we have an embedded video, which is directly played from Picturepark. While the principles are the same, we can see that we have some more pages here with the guidelines and the brand values, for example. Now, opening up the brand values shows you that, for example, here we have a side menu, and we have, again, a page with text and designed, perfectly designed in the brand of 𝐏𝐢𝐜𝐜𝐬𝐜. And here we can see assets that are embedded in the page, and we embed them without the need of coding, and allowing our users to interact with them directly. These assets could be the result of a search, or it could be manually picked assets directly from Picturepark. And we can see here, we can add it here, could again remember it, download it. We could open it up directly, and then come into a very similar view as I've shown you before in the 𝐏𝐲 portal. And of course, I can collect them to a collection or share them directly for download. Now, I've already mentioned the collection a second time. I'll show you what I mean by that. So this is a you might know collections from and light boxes from other systems, also from Picturepark. But the collections here are meant to support the single user. So I can create a collection to collect my favorites or my work, and I can invite other users to that collection, other users that are in the system. I could download the whole collection in one go, or I could put some comments on that collection, and even on a single asset, and also can invite people to rate the asset. So you might also want to use collections, for example, for collection product collections or campaign collections, and interact with other people, selecting the appropriate items and inviting them to collaborate on them. Or you could directly share the whole collection as a download capability, as a branded download capability, if you want to, send it off to an agency or to a dealer of yours. So these are collections and share links. Other than that, of course, we need our guidelines and our guidelines to how to use the brand. And wherever we do that, we really need to integrate in order to make it, to keep the fidelity and the experience high. We need to provide with the appropriate assets directly where we explain the guideline and allow for direct download from Picturepark. So here I'm logged in here. I can either take the original or the preview. It could be other renditions if you have more renditions in your Picturepark available, and download this right away, and the download is directly from your Picturepark. So there is a seamless integration into Picturepark. Same thing with color. You can have some color components where all you have to do is add your hex code, and all the other codes will automatically be generated, allowing you to convey your color policy and your color guidelines and so forth. These pages here that I'm showing you to you are just examples. Of course, it can be you can add as many pages as you want. You can add as many components as you want. This is just a way showing you how this could look like, and we'll go into how to generate those pages and how to administer them and create them in a minute when we go to the backend. Last example I'm showing you is an example of a press portal, which essentially has very similar components than a brand portal, but other content. And of course, you will always want to convey and make available your press releases. For example, here we have that carousel component, and when you click download the respective press release, you get a result with the text and all assets that belong to the press release. As you can see, the whole system is designed completely differently, and that is what you can do in the backend very, very easily. Here an example for an event page where you're showing upcoming events and where you can have your links to your own website or to other pages or internal pages on the side of the portal. This altogether shows you most of the components that are important with such an content experience portal. And I will now switch over and give you a glimpse under the hood of Smint.io portal's backend. So we spoke about design. We spoke about being able to customize it with no coding. What you see here is the backend on the left-hand side, all the menu options that you need to manage the whole system. And we start with our design choices, and it's really very simple. All you have to do is upload your logo, your favicon, and if you like an Apple Touch icon, you need to choose your colors according to your corporate design and corporate identity, with all the options that you need for the different areas. And of course, your typography. Typography is something very individual, and your choice there is either to use any of the, I think, more than 1,000 Google fonts, which are hosted on our server, so there's no GDPR headache, there's no round trip to the Google servers. And of course, you can also use your custom fonts using font-based CSS files, either linking to them via URL or uploading them here. So there's really any option available to you in terms of fonts and design. The whole design is cascading. So anything that you have defined on a level of the portal will be applicable to all the pages, but on every page you can then define, so this is the backend editor for a page with the different slots on the page and different sections on the page, but this is just to show you that on that page I could override the overall design of the portal if I wanted different colors or different logos or different design for that page. So having looked at the design, I switch over to a different portal, in this case the 𝐏𝐤𝐜𝐜 brand portal. And that 𝐏𝐤𝐜𝐜 brand portal, when I open it up, opens up the dashboard. And here you see already the roof of our House of Content activation, which is Insights. Insights showing you top pages, top assets, top search terms. In my case here, I have turned off personalized tracking, so it's only anonymous tracking. But of course, you can use personalized tracking as well, which is especially useful when you work with your partner community that are all logged onto the system. So this is basically the module to measure the success of your content, both your pages, the content that comes from Picturepark and or SharePoint. Of course, you can, when you personalize, you can look at the users as well. We have an integrated identity management that enables you to use either single sign-on. For example, here we're using Picturepark IDS. So there's just one sign-on on Picturepark, and you will automatically transfer directly to portals with different options. For example, if you like to or use the rights that have been implemented in Picturepark already, you can use pass-through authentication. Sometimes that makes sense, not always, but there are really all the options that you need to be as flexible to serve your audience. Additionally to a single sign-on, you will most likely will want external user groups as well, who are not in your Active Directory or not in your SSO system. It gives you really the option to combine the two in the best possible way. The last area I want to show to you is the editor of the backend, and we have seen it a little already. I will open up the page brand values, the page that you have seen already with the assets embedded from Picturepark, and show you the different areas, the different components and segments of it. Now here, of course, you have some general layout options. I will not touch on that in more detail. But here already we have a header, and with that header, you can see that I can manage here all my menu items, and these menu items can be really targeted perfectly to my user group. So if you are part of a specific user group, you see that item. If you're part of another user group, you see another item. If you are not logged in, you don't see the menu item. So that is really completely up to you how to define that and what menus you add here. So if I want to add a new menu, I give it a title, I give it a graphic if I like, instead of the wording, you can then use an image to convey the menu. And of course, you will always want to link it either to a Smint.io portals page or to an external website address. You can cascade the menus, so you can put in sub-menu items so that you can drill down. Here you can see the option to add a background image, which is what I've shown you with the 𝐏𝐲𝐴𝑠𝐴𝑚𝐵ly download portal. We have used the menu as a graphic menu with pictures in the background. Here are the options for the visibility and that I have talked about, whether you want to see them or not when you're logged in or logged out, or when it's available or not, or when the permission to the target page is not available. Here you can see the left area where we have the side menu. It's the same concept again. And of course, the very important part of the content, that's the content slot on the page. And I wanted to show you this element here, which is exactly the three elements that are coming from Picturepark. And I could say here, browse assets, directly browsing Picturepark, and add an asset to it if I like. And then I have a fourth asset here embedded, and I can already directly interact with those assets, which is this page here. this is the page where you can directly interact, download, share, open, and so forth. So this is really where you can contextualize your content by adding text, by adding additional information, and directly embedding the content that you like. One option that really makes it really very interesting is to use, instead of selecting the assets manually, you can use an asset search, and then dynamically all assets that meet the criteria will be displayed here. Of course, we have many templates for such content components. Here, this is the asset overview I just showed you, but of course you need other components too, like for example, text or text with image, or here you can see the search bar, which we were using on the left-hand side, or you would like to embed a video. So there are really many options to use. And there is no need of coding any of it. So this has been an overview of the backend under the hood. And we have now a few minutes left for you to ask questions if there are any.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Gerd, for sort of showing us the possibilities of the Smint.io portal. I think it's really great and fascinating always to see sort of what you have done over the last, sometimes even a couple of weeks, just that's new in the system and incorporated that I haven't seen before. So I would suggest we go through the questions now that some of our colleagues here have posted. So please feel free to still use the questions panel of GoToWebinar. We still have a few minutes to answer and address those questions. So there was a question coming from Peter. He was actually asking, you have talked about multiple content sources. Can you display content from Picturepark and from our internal SharePoint at the same time in such a portal? How would that work precisely?
Yes, absolutely. That's possible. I did not go into creating data connectors, but creating data connectors is working in the same no-code fashion that I have shown you the editor to work. So basically what you do is you connect your SharePoint library and you connect your Picturepark CP. And then you have the two sources on a search page available, and you can search both of them. And of course, you can also embed content from different sources on the same page, like I just showed you on the brand values page. You can easily do the same for Picturepark and SharePoint at the same time.
Okay. Cool. Then we have another question from Brenda. She's asking, what's the effort to implement and introduce a brand portal? What's the throughput time? And can we fully sort of brand this to our requirements so that people wouldn't see that this is an external solution? So it's about sort of efforts and sort of brandability.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the branding and the brandability is obviously what is in the center of what you need when you create a brand portal, and this is really very easily done. So you can set up the data connection, you can set up the initial portal, you can set up the initial branding within a matter of hours, including getting around the system and how to work with it the first time. So that is very quickly done. The real work sits in adding the content, and that is really depending on how deep and how broad you want to go. If you look at our 𝐏𝐢𝐜𝐜 example, that is something not very deep. It's just an example, and it just it's 10 pages or so. I'd guess you would do it in a day or two. But the deeper, the broader you go, of course, the more effort it is. But the effort lies in the content creation and embedding the content, not in the technology.
Okay. Then we have another one, the insights and analytics topics. What exactly can we analyze on the portal? What are the actions that we can analyze?
Well, firstly, all the accesses to pages and content assets from the sources. So specific content assets from Picturepark or SharePoint. Number of accesses, number of views, number of downloads. That's the anonymous tracking. Then we have a specific download tracking area where you can add additional information, like for example, cost center information, and then download the whole information in an Excel file. Some of our customers use that for internal cost attribution of content. And lastly, the personalized analytics session tracks everything a user does in terms of the data that there are. The reports that we provide for it basically show most active users, what they have downloaded, and how they have used the portal.
Okay, thanks. I think there's one question remaining, or let me check. And yeah, there's one primary question, which I think is very interesting, and I already know the answer, but I'll let you answer it, of course. I think that's one of the big strengths of the portal. The question was about is it possible to attach different portals for different target groups to the same content source? So the idea is that you have one DAM or one solution where you store the assets, but you then have different content portals for different target groups. So I know the answer already, Gert, if you can probably elaborate on that.
Yeah, that's actually a very great question, because indeed you will have a really big number of assets in your Picturepark and in your SharePoint, of course, but not all of them will be useful for a specific target group. So if, for example, you want to create a download portal or an event portal for a specific event, for example, a product launch, then you will, of course, use a different portal and different wording and different pages and different design, because potentially the brand for that portal is only a product and not the whole company. Than for others. And indeed, you can use the same Picturepark CP in the background. And for whatever you need in terms of portal experience, you really limit the access to that part of Picturepark. But you can even distinguish between different user groups and say, this user group can see content A, B, and C, and this user group can see content D, E, and F, and maybe the third user group can see A to F in the same portal. That is also possible with our feature dynamic content routing, which enables you to really attach metadata criteria on a user group level.
Okay, cool. Then there's one last minute question that just came in. It's about our classical topic. It's coming from Reinhard. It's about licensing. What do we have to expect in terms of licensing? What are the costs for a basic portal? How does it scale? What do we need to budget for this?
Yeah, so we have different price plans, different price ranges for different sizes of portals, audiences, and features. The initial range, let's say the starter package is typically for smaller companies, starts at 240 euros a month for a 12-month plan. And the enterprise plan, which is the top plan, is really very individual. So there is basically no price for it. But the range, let's say, is between that and about 20,000 per year.
Okay. Good. Then many thanks for holding that webinar and for showing us what you have got and how quickly you can set this up. It's really interesting and always fascinates me how easy it is to sort of create really a customized portal on top of all the content that you have in Picturepark. So many thanks for showing us. And yeah, if there are any questions from anybody from the webinar, please feel free to contact us anytime. Either me or Gerd directly. We'll be happy to sort of do a more in-depth presentation together with you. The recording will be sent in a couple of days, as far as I know. You will receive that directly from 𝐏𝐢𝐜𝐜𝐿. And yeah, many thanks from my side. Gerd, you have the last words.
Well, thank you very much for attending and for taking the time. As Philip said, please get in touch anytime if you have further questions. And yeah, thanks for your time. Have a nice evening.